Now today we'll take a look at some of the most important definitions and concepts. The first definition is about ecology. It goes like this: ecology is a study of how organisms interact with one another and their living environment. Now yesterday we talked about living organisms. Now what are the living organisms? There are 3 crores of living organisms or more on this earth. Man is one of them, a minority. Man is one of them, and we have ants, we have bees, we have tigers, animals, and so on. Everything which is living is the living organism. Now this living organism is stated to be having interrelationship with each other. For example, if you take man, if you leave the person alone on the moon, for example, where I don't have any other organisms, the man cannot survive unless proper conditions are created again. So we are realizing that each of the ecosystems, each of the living organisms have got an interrelationship with each other. For example, man lives on air, food, water. All right, water is there because water is sustained by certain other organisms. Trees are there because trees are sustained by some other organisms. Air is there, and so on. So all these other subsystems, other living organisms have given a support, have role to play in our living. Similarly, we support the other organisms. So there is a symbiotic relationship. Symbiotic means mutual relationship between the living organisms on this earth and around the earth. That's what the definition of ecology is. It is, and study of this relationship and its development and its management is called ecology. So to repeat, ecology is nothing but study of the interrelationship between the living organisms and other ecosystems. That's how it. Yesterday we said environment is nothing but the sum total of all the ecosystems. Now there are several definitions given by C.C. Park, given by Douglas and Holland. In the literature you will find the notes that we have given you, and we find that environment refers to the science which will deal with the interdependence on the subsystems and how we can manage them, we can develop them, we can use it for our best advantage. That's the environment. So environment simply not a mathematical relations of x plus y is equal to z. It is not that. There is much to it. It is about how the interrelationship, how the synergy comes out of this mutual dependence. Synergy means where 1 plus 1 becomes 2 plus delta. It's not 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. If 1 plus 1 is 2, then there's no extra which is coming out. The nature is developing with some synergy between the living and non-living organisms. Therefore, that synergy which comes out, that extra force which comes out because of the interaction, interrelationship and interdependence of these subsystems, that extra force is the one which sustains life and non-life on this globe. Therefore, we are studying that, and that is the environment as stated by C.C. Park and Douglas and Holland and many other people. So to summarize you again, we are talking of subsystems like man, fish, trees, water, air and so on. These are all the subsystems which we call ecosystems, and they are all together have got an interrelationship, and when they interact with each other, when they depend with each other, when they support with each other, there is some force which is generating. That force will sustain the life and non-life on this globe. So that's what we are talking of, ecology and environment. Now in this particular subject, your course, ecology and environment, talks of the social environment, the economic environment, the biological environment, and interrelated issues, and how they interact with each other. This we have social, we have environment, we have economic, and so on. And when these interact with each other, sometimes there is a strain, a stress, some pain developing. For example, if you cut forests, what happens? Yesterday we talked about it briefly. When man, because of his industrial development, because of his firewood needs, because of his need for wood to construct railway platforms or construct houses and so on, he has to extract wood out of the forest. Now when he does, he is cutting the trees. When he cuts the trees, the green cover is destroyed. When the green cover is destroyed, yesterday we said it leads to rising of temperatures, it leads to scarcity of rains, it leads to carbon increase in the atmosphere and pollution, and if you don't have trees, you don't have shelter, you don't have fruits, you don't have anything, vriksho rakshita rakshita. If you protect the tree, it will protect you. So therefore that is one example of how a system on which you depend, if you over extract, if you destroy it, or if you disturb it beyond its capacity to repair itself. Trees can repair themselves, but then if you cut 1,000 trees a day, it can't produce 1,000 trees per day. So therefore there is a disturbance caused to the forest. When this disturbance is caused, okay, to some extent it is bearable. Nature can manage itself, nature can repair itself, but beyond that nature cannot repair itself. That we study in this particular subject. And we also will talk about, under the scope we are mentioning all this, we also talk about the equity between the different organisms, different biosystems on this earth. By equity, what we mean is the advantage which comes to the either side. Okay, how much I depend on forest and how much forest depends on me. If it is a balanced, okay, it is equitable. If it is not balanced, there is a disturbance. It's like a simple balance, if you put vegetables on one side and the stones or the weights on the other side, if the weights are more, it comes up. If the vegetable is more, then it comes up on the other side. So it is a simple way of balancing the interdependence between the ecosystems in this nature. Now in this interdependence, while we interact with the subsystems, while the subsystems interact with each other, we are saying there cannot be disturbance to the fine balance. If there is a disturbance to the fine balance, to some extent it's okay, beyond that it is not okay. It leads to many other problems. So therefore we are saying it should be bearable, the dependence must be bearable to each other, the dependence must be equitable to each other. The third one is it must be sustainable to each other. Forests must be able to bear the load man is putting on them. Oceans must be able to bear the load man is putting on them. Air, water, fire. So the sustainability yesterday we explained. Sustainability means the ability to survive. Ability to survive, overcoming the problems. There is a problem, there is a conflict between the nature and the man. There is a conflict between system A and system B. because system B is using system A and system A is using system B. Therefore, in this usage, obviously when the overuse comes, there is a bit of conflict, and sustainability means to go together without that conflict causing major disturbance. It should be viable in the long run. Long-term viability is called sustainability. Over and above the minor problems that we may have in such interaction and interdependence. So we talked about the scope. The scope talks about not only the study of these subsystems and their structures per se, but also we are talking about the interdependence, the equity, the pain, the viability, the sustainability among the subsystems. That is the scope of this particular course. Now the importance, the next one is importance of environment. What is the reason why we talk so much about the environment? We talk so much about the environment because it is only on this earth that we have suitable environment to sustain life. There is no living organisms on the moon, nor in the sun, nor on Mars, because the sustainable conditions is not there. Okay. Now the question is, we disturb them and we study and understand the environment. For example, trees, if you see, oceans, if you see, the importance lies in understanding them and then seeing that they continue to give us the advantage that we need to derive from oceans, forests, or whatever it is. For example, if you take, when I was in ITC Bhadrachalam paper boards, I studied the way plants take water from the ground. Okay. Now the tree is going above the ground against gravity. You know gravity, ability of the earth to pull down the objects. Now the tree is going above into the sky and the tree needs water. It takes water from the ground and then the water is traveling upwards against the gravity of the earth. It goes till the last branch of the which may be 10 kilometers up or 5 kilometers up or whatever it is, but it's a beauty of the nature. The God arranged so beautifully that the water travels against the gravity into the various upward branches, trees of the tree. So therefore this happens by capillary action. Okay, the tree consists of several capillaries called fibers, cellulose fibers, and these fibers pick up water. The first range of fibers pick up water, and then water comes up, it is sucked by the next fiber, next fiber, next fiber, and so on. The capillary action keeps on working, and the fibers which are there throughout the trunk of the tree keep on pulling the water so that the water travels upwards. This we have understood. This we have understood and we have used to grow the trees, and we have used it to extract the fiber and make paper, which is so useful, so important for the growth of civilization and development of the mankind on this earth. So therefore it's very important that we understand the ecosystems. If we talk about the environment, if we talk about the air, up above in the above the stratosphere we have ozone layer. We have ozone layer. Ozone is O3. We only know O2, which is oxygen, but then up there you have O3, which is ozone. A beautiful, very light blue colored envelope which is surrounding the atmosphere between the sun and the atmosphere of the earth, whereby this layer of ozone is protecting us from ultraviolet rays reaching the earth. Now you know what happens if ultraviolet rays falls on the human body. Simply you will develop scars, you develop cancer, you develop burn, and then you will not be able to sustain, live at all. There will be no life on this earth. It is so important for you to study the nature of the properties of the ozone layer, and then if ozone layer is depleting, getting destroyed, thinning or thickening, whatever the changes that are happening to the ozone layer up above in the sky, we need to take some ameliorating measures to see that we really keep the optimum level of ozone. That is another example of how the importance lies in understanding the ecosystems. Water, for example, okay, we need water for our sustenance. Without water you can't live on this earth, and then water is becoming scarce and scarce. Once upon a time in my childhood there was a lot of water. I mean, we used to drink water from the canals, water from the taps, water from the river, and so on. That water is getting polluted now, you can't drink it anymore. Now we are getting water from the filters, we need to filter the water, and water is being sold in the bottles. So water, which was a God's given entity, which is blessed by the God, which is available abundantly in this nature, is becoming scarce, is becoming less and less and less. Because it is becoming less and less and less, our life is threatened. We need to find out ways and means of how we can replenish the water. Biggest challenge to the governments world over, and governments in India is also taking a lot of Jalayagnam projects. Okay, all these things which the government is Polavaram project and other Etipothala projects which the government is embarked upon, spending huge money in order to see that we get irrigation water and drinking water to the people, because water is becoming scarce. So it's important to understand the phenomenon of water. We said the phenomenon of trees, phenomenon of ozone layer, and many other things we need to understand and take the necessary steps, the scientific research to bring back the nature's beauty, nature's glory, ability of the nature to sustain life on this earth which God has given, which a man is destroying. Now that is how it is important. I don't think there is any other subject which is more important than this to say. So I am sure we appreciate the importance of studying the ecology and environment for our own living. Today we are talking of corona because we have not understood those conditions under which this corona is erupting. If we understood, we would have taken preemptive measures, preventive mechanism, in order to see that the coronavirus would not have come in the first place. It had not come a year ago. Why it has come suddenly? Something wrong has happened. What is that? It is so important to see that we keep a tab, we keep a track of what is happening to the science, what is happening to the scientific relationships between various entities of this nature, so that we take corrective measures time to time. Otherwise you will have problems like corona. And let me tell you the good news that CCMB, Center for Cellular and Molecular Biology in Tarnaka, Hyderabad, has already taken several steps to see that some solution is found to the virus, and very soon we will be able to come out with a solution for this virus. So it is, the importance lies in there also. They are understanding the living, the cycle of this virus. They are understanding those situations, conditions under which this is developing. Those conditions, if they are diffused, this virus won't come up in the first place. But then now the virus has come up. To kill it, what we need to do, CCMB is doing, we have seen in the newspapers, and very soon we will be able to, the CCMB will be able to come out with some solution to eradicate this virus and many other viruses. So now we just talked about the scope and importance of the ecology and environment. We also would talk about the need to create awareness about these problems of tsunami, problems of Australian fire, problems of ozone layer, problems of the water scarcity, the fire, water, and all the things that we talked about since yesterday. Now, if I understand alone, if few scientists only know about the problems, is it enough? You might say that yeah, scientists will bring out the solution and I will be able to use them and then get along. No, it's not like that. Any thing to survive, any solution to the environment, to the ecology, to survive in the long run, it needs people's participation, because it's the people who are destroying the environment, people who are destroying the ecology. Unless the change comes in people, no amount of drugs, no amount of scientific inventions will solve the problem in the long run. Therefore, we are saying that people participation is very important. People in the urban areas should know how to keep the environment safe, should know how to release minimal amount of carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide and other gases into the air, should know how to use electricity in a limited way, should know how to keep safe and sound conditions around, should know how to not pollute. So, it is all the people who have to be educated to see that they don't live carelessly, they don't throw things here and there and cause pollution. Yeah, if you go to Bombay suburbs, for example, you travel in the train from Bombay Central to Borivali. Now you will find on the left side and right side, you will find those huts and those dirty canals and those things which are horrible, which create a lot of dirt and a lot of bad smell and things, and I am sure they are the breeding grounds of a lot of viruses and things. So the people who are living there must be made to educate that they must live properly. It's only today corona has come, therefore government is active and then spreading the news and cleaning the environment, spreading the medicines and things. It is not that only when a crisis comes you wake up and then do something. It is necessary that as a habit, as a living style, you must. Now, for people to take up these living styles as a habit, we need to educate them. It doesn't happen by itself, because people would like to live their own way. They would not like to live in a conditioned system. But if you don't like to live in a conditioned system, you will recklessly live and then destroy the nature, create all kinds of dirt around, thereby creating unwanted viruses and other things. Therefore, that's how we are saying need for awareness. Secondly, there is a lot of funding which is required for the sustainable life on this earth. Now, funding comes from where? We expect the government to fund all kinds of problems that the mankind is facing. It is not. Government is always in the negative balance. Okay, is it possible to think that public sector, private sector, people in the tribal areas, people in the villages, people in the towns and cities and mega cities have an awareness about the need to kill the viruses, need to protect the environment, need to keep the temperature normal, need to sustain the water, need to replenish the water and so on. And once they are aware, the money will not be a problem, because money ultimately comes from people in the form of taxes, in the form of donations, funds and whatever it is. So our whole concept of looking at the government to do something, I think is wrong, because although the government can do so to an extent, it is the larger population which has to do it for itself before it goes into the hands of the government. You keep on creating problems and ask the government to solve them because you are paying taxes. It's not correct. There is a limitation on how much of government can spent. Therefore, I feel that we should educate the people to on better ways of living, methods whereby they don't destroy the ecosystems, methods whereby they live in harmony with nature. That's what we are saying. That's the need for public awareness. Now, this completes your unit 1. Your unit 1 was about ecology and environment. We talked about meaning of ecology, we talked about the meaning of environment, we talked about 5 forces of nature, Panchabhutas, and we talked about how they are getting destroyed, and we talked about whatever the consequences of destroying the nature.